Hello everybody, my name is Jacob. Welcome to my channel. Today in this video I'm going to talk about my first season drifting as a driver, at least my first real season. I'm going to talk about kind of myself, my background, so you guys can kind of know who I am as a driver, as a person on this channel. I'm going to talk about my cars. There's going to be separate videos per car, of course, but this season I'm going to focus on my drift car. I'm going to talk about kind of the events that I've gone to, the lessons I learned from them, and kind of my plans for the future, or at least how to address some of the issues and/or problems that I encountered. So I'll start there. And as I mentioned, my name is Jacob. I've been driving or drifting roughly 4 years, kind of off and on. My work schedule and life schedule didn't really work out in previous years, but now I've been fortunate enough to kind of make it happen. When I have not been able to drive, I've been on my sim. I've put many thousand, hundreds of hours on it. It's enabled me to kind of, enjoy my hobby, learn a skill, just have a lot of fun. In the winter months here in Minnesota, I don't get out, I don't do anything. As far as cars is concerned, it's done. So this kind of enabled me to, continue to do my passion. But now, 2025 was my first real season that I was able to get out, build a proper car, get on the track, and actually, learn my passion, learn some skills, have some fun. So that's a bit about me. I will do another video maybe later down the road, maybe go into my history, but as for now, I think that's all we need to cover. Now we can move on to the car. This season specifically was my first season with my 36 now. This one was specifically built for drifting, as far as the parts and the setup for it. It's still a street car, but I did the modifications strictly to go to the track. So just to go over it briefly, I'm going to make a full video on every single car that I've had throughout my time, but I'm going to make a more in-depth video with this car specifically, so you can kind of get the ins and outs of it if you are curious about it. Start out, it's a 318 chassis, so a 318 IS, a two-door. It has an M52 engine, so M50, I think it's a B25 with the G-Type 5-speed. Stock clutch. Frankly, it's pretty much all stock, other than has an M50 manifold with M3 injectors, and then there's a tune for it. So yeah, as far as that, pretty much in essence, it's a stock E36. Suspension wise, it's sitting on BC BR coilovers, stock springs, stock rates, at least for that series. So stock BR series coilovers. Again, as far as suspension, it is stock 318 IS suspension wise. So control arms, bushings, sway bars, everything stock 318 IS, other than the coilovers. In the front end, it's just stock angle. There's no modifications done to it. The alignment is zeroed out. I have maybe a degree of camber in the front. Everything else is zero. The toe is zero. In the rear end, I have the only thing I've done is the chassis reinforcement with bushings. So I did poly bushings in the rear and the chassis reinforcements, and then I did camber arms just because I just wanted a little more adjustment, or at least I wanted to zero it out as best as I could. Otherwise, in essence, it's a completely bone stock E36. It still has cats. It's just, yeah, that's about it. So again, essentially, it is just a stock 318 IS with a M52 swap. So I intentionally did this because I've had highly modified cars in the past. Frankly, I didn't really know what I was doing, so now I'm starting at a baseline of more or less a stock car, so I can kind of grow and understand my vehicles as I progress as a driver. That's something I really do believe in. Start simple, learn the fundamentals before you implement other things. For example, I don't even have a handbrake. I'm going to add one this season because of a reason I'll talk about, but the parking brake doesn't lock the wheels. I drive without a handbrake just so I can learn how to control the car, and then I don't have any kind of crutch or anything I can, lean on, which, it can be good and bad, but for fundamental driving purposes, I prefer starting with a stock car, and then I can upgrade it as I understand and see fit. Now we're going to cover the events that I went to. I went to about 4 events in 2025. I didn't get to get out as much as I wanted to. and I plan to remedy that in the future. I was at Elko Speedway pretty much strictly, just out of convenience. Where my car is stored, and it's 20-minute drive, so I'm able to get out there, have some fun. Just logistically, is a lot easier for me to get out there, and that's how I can view the sport. Okay, first event, I was a spectator for a Bash Bros event. I'll probably put dates or whatever up here. Really cool. I had been to some events before, so I kind of had an idea of what to expect, but I had never been in an event at Elko or like a real event in Minnesota, so it was pretty cool. I got to meet some of the guys, kind of get my foot in the door in the community, kind of start meeting people. I'm not the best at that, but I did okay. It was really fun. I brought my helmet along. I was able to get a couple ride-alongs, specifically with Matt. I'll link him here. Matt and Drew, I'll put them there. It was a very good experience for me. So Matt, he has an RB swapped S13. I think it's an RB25, if I remember correctly. But this is kind of a good elevation for me. I've been in S13s a couple times. I've owned several, but I've never had one to that level. I think he's making roughly around 400 wheel, if not more. So it was really fun. I got in that car. He threw it at the wall at like 60 miles an hour. I'd never been on a bank track either. Really fun. It was really cool. Really good people. I got some videos up with them up as well. And then there was Drew, the other guy I rode with. So he's got his LS swapped RX-7 FC. Beautiful car. I think he just painted it like the week or the day prior to me even seeing it. Beautiful green. It was really cool. It was good to talk to him too. I kind of poked his brain, as a driver, and had a good little conversation. Yeah, so really good, really fun. I'll put those videos up as there. Second event, 2025, was my first event as a driver. So this is kind of a really fun story. I spent the entire week prior to this event, like Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, pretty much, building the car because it wasn't at all ready. Other than the engine swap I had done, manual swap was already done, but the rear end wasn't touched. It was bone stock. The car wasn't even painted. I think I didn't even have the seats in yet. But anyway, I'll go through that. Yeah, I spent the whole week prepping the car, and then I got out there. It was really fun. Initially, I had struggled, learning the car. This is a completely fresh build. I hadn't even done donuts with it. I just put in the diff and sent it. So I was learning how to control the car, learning how to get comfortable with it, and then learning kind of the bank track as well. I stayed on the inside line pretty much the entire time, just because I wasn't comfortable getting up there yet, or up on the bank. Yeah, it was a lot of spins, a lot of frustration. I had a hard time getting the car to do what I wanted it to do. I've had other cars that I can kind of gauge and throw around, and I was familiar with, and then obviously my time on the sim, I kind of had expectations of how my car should move and whatever, but I had to learn it. Obviously, real life is different. But yeah, it was good. I got a lot of good laps. I actually ended the days with my first tandems. I'd never done that before. I say tandem loosely. I was probably like 15 feet away from my leader. There was a guy in a black BRZ FRS. I don't remember which one it was, but he was cool people. First time I'd ever done that before. And then a guy I met named Connor he's in a red E46. Pictures. Really good dude. Really. He's happy. He's cool. He's comfortable with me following him, driving him, and then I think we're kind of learning how to drive at the same time. So it's kind of fun having somebody at your level, like to just mess around with out there. But yeah, I did have one issue with the car. I kind of had to work around that. I'll go into that in further section when I talk about my problems and lessons. Yeah, day one, our first event, first 3-day event, really cool, really fun, lot done, a lot of lessons learned. My second event as a driver, third event of the year, was in Elko Drift School. So this is just a 1-day event. As it seems, it's a drift school, so intermediate or better drivers are teaching us newer guys how to get out there, how to do it. It was really cool. A lot of the local drivers came out just to teach us, have some fun, getting ride-alongs, whatever. But yeah, it was cool. Started off just doing, donuts around a cone, learning how to transition. And then eventually got into, open course again. They opened up the bank as well. I stayed inside most of the time. And then started doing a little bit of tandems again. And then further through the end of the day, we got up on the bank. I was still following people. I feel really comfortable doing so. It's very fun. But yeah, that was drift school. Nothing too crazy. Okay. Last event I'm gonna talk about was my last event of the season. It was a 3-day Drifttober event at Elko. It was a Halloween event, so we were all in costumes. Really fun. It was like a trick or treat event too. It was pretty cool. So first day was very, very rainy. Track was very wet. I had a really hard time getting grip. Learning how to drive in those conditions was very, very different than what I'm used to. What the way the car was set up is I had to drive it very hard and basically just be floored all the time, even with 55 psi in the tires. Again, due to my diff that I mentioned. Yeah, driving in the rain, I had to learn kind of throttle modulation, a little bit of braking. But again, I kind of spun out like crazy. I also kind of crashed because I drove like a bitch. Basically what happened, I let off too much on throttle and my rear tires gripped up and then pushed my fronts, and basically I just pushed off the track into a barrier. Not super fun, not great, but again, it wasn't really terrible. I drove off the track, ripped the bumper off, took off the crash bar. I got back out there, so really wasn't the worst thing in the world. It was a lesson learned, and it was kind of fun. Yeah, so day one, it was difficult. I mean, I tried to have fun. I mean, we were all kind of whatever. We all just sliding around in the rain. It wasn't the most fun. But day two, the track started to dry up. So obviously had more grip, had more speed. It was a lot more fun. I started day two. I just kept spinning out. I couldn't figure it out. And then as the track dried up, I was able to regain my grip. I was able to drive better. And then they opened up the round for the comp practice. So I had actually signed up for this comp because I don't know, I just thought it looked really fun and I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could even be competitive. So I talked to Brad at Bash Bros. I just kind of asked, how can I get my foot in the door? How can I do it? He said, bro, just come sign up, put your name on the roster and send it. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what I did. So then comp practice ended. I felt really confident. I was doing a really good, did a good couple leads, good chases, even up on the bank. And then it was comp time. This was probably the most scared I've ever felt getting in my car for some reason. I had like nerves about it. So they did the national anthem, everything, and it turns out that I was the first lead of the first round of my first comp in my first season. So a whole lot of firsts there all at once. So yeah, I got up to the grid. I had this feeling in my gut. I just felt weird. There's a bunch of people in the stands watching. I thought that was really cool. The media guys were flying drones, and some of the guys were up in the grandstand calling stuff. I thought that was really fun, really cool. But anyway, we light off. I enter, do my thing. I get up on the berm, and honestly, I thought I was cooking this guy. And then some of the pictures I had like 10 feet on him. I guess I don't know. I just got away from him. I was up on the bank. I had a good start on my lead, and then I spun out. So I don't know what happened. I got her on that first big bank, and then on the inner transition, I just rotated, zeroed out my first lead run in my first battle, which whatever, I was kind of upset about at the time, but like I can't be too mad about it. Again, this is my first season, my fresh car, so like I wasn't too upset about it. And then I don't know, I just finished out the chase. I could put the clips up. I'll probably have them playing as I'm talking about it. It was really cool. They had all these cameras and drones up, and there's a live stream, so they put me up there. I found the clip of it later. Yeah, no, it was a really good time, really good experience. And then that comp went for the next several hours, so I just kind of I ate some food, I chilled out, hung out with family. It was pretty cold, so we're trying to stay warm while we were out there. There's a big campfire, so we were all standing around it. Um, but yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. And I don't know, just kind of a good way to close out the season. So it was a very packed venue, very, very packed. But the pits were just full. But yeah, no, it was a really good time, really good way to close out the season. And then, I didn't completely destroy the car. I only broke the front bumper, so I guess there's that. Um, but yeah, that was my last season, or my last event of 2025. Okay, now I'm gonna get kind of into like lessons learned, problems, logistics, stuff like that. Something that was very interesting to me was kind of seeing how all these other teams or all these other people run their programs and like the stuff they have. Um, so for me, with my time kind of around the motorsport scene, I kind of knew some things I should bring, some things not to. But like I had a cooler, I had my chairs, and I was able to get a canopy tent above my car and like my pit space. That was really nice. It was, made me look like I knew what I was doing. But I had shade, I had refreshments, I had somewhere to sit down. I feel like people often overlook that. Like, you get so excited and so amped up to go out driving, and that's all you want to do. But then when you want to relax, or if you have people with you, they need somewhere to hang out and just take a load off instead of sitting in the cars, or you sit outside, get some sun in a canopy, have a cooler, have all these things. So I guess for my lesson learned is, I was happy with what I had. I was happy to be prepared. I had 2 lawn chairs, a fold up table, and then my cooler, and then my canopy. So it was a pretty good setup. Having that, like, I had all my tools and all my stuff in the back of my X3 that I parked next to the canopy so I could pop the back of it open. Yeah, all those things were good. Something I did not do very well at was my kind of food prep. So meal prep, I didn't, one of the days we had, a bunch of stuff for sandwiches, which was really cool and convenient. Cool. We had drinks. I always had drinks out there. But I guess I would do better at meal prepping, or, planning my meals. And yeah, I guess that's just part of it. Logistics, moving your cars, whatever. When it is convenient enough that I can drive to the track, like Elko, which is a 20-minute drive, it's not that big of a deal. But in the future, as I go, say to US Air or ND or anywhere in Iowa, like those bigger trips, I'm gonna need to plan a lot better. And then I guess we'll kind of get into the car now, or at least as far as lessons that I learned about it. So for my E36, I mentioned that I did not run a rear sway bar. I had this idea that if I took out the movement of the rear end, that I would have more grip on the rear tires, which in theory, yes, but it also, it had a lot of unnecessary movement that I didn't like. And my car doesn't really make enough power where I need to be kind of fighting for mechanical grip right now anyway, because it's so low power and the diff is not a good fit. So I had noticed I had weird tire wear. So because of how much my car was rolling and rotating on the bank and everything, my outer tire, the outside of it, was burning up, and I can add a little negative camber to combat that. But I'm also going to stiffen up the rear end so that it doesn't lean as much. I'm going to put the stock 318 bar back in the rear. I don't want a big fat one yet until and maybe I do, maybe I don't. And then I adjusted my dampening on my coilovers as well. That helped a little bit out at the track. A guy named Aaron that I know, he came up to me after a lap and he asked me what my coilovers were set to, because I had them all set to soft, because I had this idea that I was just throwing all the grip at my back tires, which I guess it's not correct. So he asked me, and he said, it looks pretty soft. I was like, you're right. And then he recommended I click it up. So I went about 10 clicks hard. That actually significantly helped my grip level. So I guess the lesson to learn is I'm going to stiffen up the rear end as well. The front needs to be stiffened as well, but it wasn't as bad up there. So I'm going to put a bigger sway bar. So not only I'm upgrading the sway bar to a 6-cylinder car, but I'm also going to get an aftermarket one that's fatter. The 318 bar is just too small. I added a ton of weight with the motor. I wouldn't say ton, but I added more weight with the motor swap and everything else with it. So I'm going to stiffen up the front end. I'm going to stiffen up the rear a little bit as well. So that was my lesson with the sway bar. What was happening is the car basically wanted to straighten itself out when I was in angle. I have a video of it. Actually, I didn't realize what was happening until I heard somebody talking about it. But my car basically was more, had more, I think it's called forward bite, but the car just wants to go forward. It wasn't able to stay sideways as well because of my rear suspension, I think was too soft or moving in a way that it didn't help it maintain angle. So I'm going to try adding a rear sway bar. I'm going to stiffen up the front, and then we'll see what that goes, see what lesson I learned there. Another thing I learned as far as tire pressure and tires. So I used used tires because that's the only thing I could get, frankly, that was cost effective. I bought a set of E46 wheels that were on really old tires. I used some almost dry rotten stuff. I run about 195s, 195 to 205s. So basically stock tire size, and then I ran them at high PSIs. I found that the 205s for the E46s, I wasn't able to get them to spin as easily. Granted, this all goes back to my diff, which again I'm going to talk about, but I wasn't able to spin the 205s as easily. They were more grippy because they were used. I had a couple of them delaminate. So I guess I would recommend not doing that in the future. I had to do it. That's what I had to do. I was given free tires. I was not going to say no. That's the only reason I can make some of these events is because I was able to get these tires that I can mount myself. But yeah, I used some 205s. I like the 195s. I had a better time with those. But yeah, just try not to use tires best you can. Again, coming from me, I'm the cheapest person on earth. I will continue to do whatever I do, but at best practice, do not use used tires. If they are used, don't get them when they're super old, because you get them hot, they will delaminate and fall apart or pop and blow your quarter panel. I had one blow and it scratched up my quarter panel very well. But yeah, so that's just another lesson there. Tire pressure was a good one too. I just bumped it all the way up to 55. I did fronts and rears, which at the time I didn't see an issue with, but now I can understand it. But I had my fronts at 55, but I wasn't pushing, I wasn't losing grip, so I had no issue with that. But then my third event, my last event, I was talking to somebody and they thought I was crazy for running that high pressure in the front. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I dropped it to 32, and then the day after is when I slid into the barrier on the rainy day. So I don't know what to feel about it, but I still run them at 32 now. The rears stay about 55, at least until I can get my wheel speed situated. E-fan. I won't go over my E-fan again. So I used a single electric fan on a Mishimoto controller. I haven't had an issue with the Mishimoto stuff in the past. I run it on my S13. I got dual Mishimoto fans and one of their controllers. It worked okay. I had a shroud on it as well. But unfortunately, because of how the front end of my car is, it moved back into my water pump, then it arced and it got fried. So that kind of I wouldn't say it crippled the car, because I was fortunate enough that I noticed the temps rise. I went right to the pits and turned it off. It was at the end of the day, and then I was able to fix it right away. I swapped out the E-fan with a clutch fan. So I guess if you are building a car, it's a matter of preference. I had preference towards the E-fans. I like them, but in the E36 application, the clutch fan has worked for me much better. My temps, sit 190, maybe sit around 190, 180 on grid. 180 if I'm just at idle. 190 gets hot. I don't really see it get even close to 200. So yeah, the clutch fan works for me very well. I literally just have nose cone, bumper, radiator, clutch fan. There's nothing in front of or anything. I ripped out all the AC and stuff. So my electric fan for that car didn't work. My S13, I'm happy to have my E-fans in that car. And I'm going to talk about It's a long diff, so the differential was I think my biggest issue. I outdrove it, like I said, but I think it might have. We'll see what it's done for my driving style. Basically, what I had to do to overcome that was I launched right off of right off a grid. I entered pretty much right away, so I floored it in first, got the wheels spinning, kept them spinning, and clicked second, and then I could throw it around. And as long as I keep the momentum and keep the pedal forward, then I was able to get the car to do what I wanted it to do, which was great. But I probably couldn't even hit red line in second gear. So it was a combination of grip and a wheel speed that I was having issues with. I think I'm going to get a shorter diff, or a shorter diff. I'm going to get stiffer suspension in the rear, and I'll probably have better tires, so that'll help me kind of spin them the way I need to. But yes, as far as lessons learned, but yeah, I had a super long diff and low power car. It was a hard combination, but I outdrove it and I did okay. So I think I'm pretty confident that moving forward that it's not going to be as big of a detriment. And then I have another note here. So driving like a bitch is what I called it. So it's when I pushed into the wall, it's because I did not commit all the way to what I was doing, and then I let off throttle because I don't really know why I did what I did, but I let off throttle, and then I was staring at the wall, which I was looking where I did not want to go. I just looked, and I had tunnel vision, and I just hit the wall. So I guess, yeah, I drove like a bitch, and I paid the price for it. Ultimately, a handbrake would have saved me. I did not have a handbrake in the car. If I could lock the wheels, I could just bail out and spin out. Unfortunately, I just had to ride it. I had to let it go. So this season, I'm going to be doing a handbrake. I'm going to do an inline handbrake. I can explain why later on, or as I do it, make a video about it. But yeah, handbrake to kind of combat that issue. And then a last bit. So it's going to be alignment or suspension, a little more suspension. So I mentioned zeroed out everything other than camber maybe. This upcoming season, I'm going to install an angle kit. I'll caveat that. So I'm fully supporting, building the stock car, driving it, so learning it. So I feel comfortable in a stock car. So now I want to upgrade for two reasons. One, all the suspension from that 318 is all junk. It's old. So frankly, it made it through the season just fine. But now I'm going to take all of that out. I'm going to replace the ball joints, tie rods, everything is going to come out. So when doing that, it makes sense for me to upgrade as well. So I'm going to do a small angle kit just so I can replace everything and then upgrade it, because it will benefit me. I understand the stock angle, everything like that, but I'm going to refresh the car and upgrade it at the same time. So for me, that's just what makes sense. I'm going to probably put a little more camber in the front wheels. I'm going to have extended arms or whatever with the angle kit. So the front end's going to have more camber. I'm going to leave it at stock toe right now, so zero toe. I might toe out if I see fit, at least for the track. And then I'm going to try to play with caster as well. I'm going to learn everything. I don't know everything about alignments, especially drift cars. So yeah, front end, refresh, stiffer sway bar, angle kit, get all that done. The rear end, nothing is going to change too much. I'm going to drop my R-tabs. I'm going to reinforce those pockets, and then I'm going to put in new spherical R-tabs so my rear end's a little more solid. And then as they fail, I'll do the ball joints and the knuckles. But otherwise, that's not really going to change. If I get my hands on a diff, I will be putting a diff in the car. 315 at minimum, even though that's not much different than what I have. But if I can get a 391, that'd be perfect. I want to stay with an open style so I can weld it, make it more reliable for me. But yeah, so suspension-wise, front-end angle kit, sway bars, and then R-tabs is the last thing pretty much. And then, yeah, so that's what I have for the car. Those are the issues that I did have. I guess moving into my next section, kind of plans for the future. I already talked about what I want to do with the car. Handbrake, RTAP, suspension, everything I talked about. I want to get the exhaust extended so it goes all the way out of the back bumper. Right now it pretty much ends in front of the axle. And the axle, so it's probably cooking all the stuff back there, which I don't like. Handbrake I mentioned, so that I don't hit walls anymore, at least not on purpose, or not accidentally. If I hit them on purpose, cool. New diff, yeah, and then cosmetics on the car. I have a lot planned. I picked up some M3 mirrors that I have on the car now, but I gotta paint them and everything. So the plan is either paint or wrap the car white and then put a livery on it, and then I'm gonna do front bumper, skirts, at least that arrow. The rear end I think I'm gonna cut out, but I'll save that for videos to come. You guys will see kind of what my plan is, and the new wheels. And I don't know, as far as the season goes for 2026, I would love to enter more comps. It'd be really cool if I could win a couple battles, and then, if I could podium in a comp, that would be incredible, but I don't think that's realistic for my driving level right now. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have planned for the future of the car and then the future of my program. Or to conclude, it was a great season. I had a lot of fun. I didn't get out very often. But I learned so much already, and I gained so much confidence as a driver, and I'm very excited to see kind of where I go next. It's very cool to meet people. I'm kind of learning little tips and tricks. I don't say the business side, but you learn, how to make your how you can sell yourself, how you can the relationships you make can benefit you, the things that people do. I've made a lot of good connections, a lot of people, media too. So thank you for watching. It's been a lot, I know, but it's kind of how I am. I just talk. So thank you for being here with me, and we'll catch you in the next one.